For almost 100 years, we've had a secret weapon against deadly bacteria: antibiotics. There are miracle drugs. But, well, that age of miracles, it's starting to fade. Bacteria are getting smarter, evolving way faster than we can create new drugs, and that's leading to a massive superbug crisis. But what if the answer isn't some brand new weapon, but a really clever strategy that uses bacteria's oldest, most ancient enemy? Let's get into it.
Okay, let's start with a number. This is the number that keeps public health officials up at night. The projection is that by 2050, 10 million people could die every single year from infections our antibiotics just can't fight anymore. To put that in perspective, that's more people than currently die from cancer.
And look, this isn't some far-off, distant problem we can worry about later. In just one recent year, almost 5 million deaths were already associated with this antimicrobial resistance. The crisis isn't coming, folks. It is already here, and it's quietly growing in hospitals all over the world. So this is the big question, right? This is what it all boils down to. When a simple cut on your finger or a totally routine surgery suddenly becomes a life or death situation because our best drugs don't work, what's plan B? It's a question that's forcing scientists to think way, way outside the box. So how in the world did we even get here? To figure out the solution, you've really got to understand the problem first. And it all started with what was a medical miracle that's now turned into a global threat. I mean, this timeline just shows you how fast our triumph became a huge challenge. Penicillin? It was revolutionary. But you know what? Bacteria started fighting back almost right away. And what was a kind of rare problem back in the late 20th century, well, that's now our scary new normal. And don't think this is just some niche scientific concern. No way. We're talking about the World Health Organization. They've officially sounded the alarm, classifying antimicrobial resistance, or AMR for short, as a top-tier global public health threat. So the highest levels of global health are telling us, we need a solution, and we need it now. All right, so if our man-made solutions are starting to fail, where do we turn? Well, the answer might actually be hidden in a biological war that's been raging for billions of years. Let's meet bacteria's oldest and most efficient predator. Say hello to the bacteriophage, or just phage for short. I want you to think of it like a microscopic bacteria-hunting heat-seeking missile. These tiny viruses do one thing, and one thing only. They find, infect, and then destroy specific bacteria. And they are literally the most abundant organisms on Earth, fighting this invisible planet-wide war against bacteria every single second. This comparison here just nails the difference. An antibiotic, it's like carpet bombing. Sure, it kills the bad bacteria, but it often takes out all the good bacteria in your gut along with it. Collateral damage. A phage, though, that's a precision strike. It is programmed to hunt down only its target, leaving everything else completely untouched. Now, it would be awesome if we could just swap out antibiotics for phages, but there's a catch. Bacteria are smart. Just like they learn to resist our drugs, they can learn to resist phages too. But here's the fascinating parts. Sometimes, when a bacterium evolves to fight off a phage, it accidentally makes itself more vulnerable to an antibiotic. It's a trade-off. So, what if we could use that against them? And that brings us to the really cool idea at the heart of this explainer. It's a revolutionary strategy that combines our old weapon, the antibiotic, with this rediscovered natural one. It's called phage antibiotic synergy, and it might just be the game changer we've been looking for. The idea is actually pretty simple, but it is incredibly powerful. When you use phages and antibiotics together, the result isn't just 1 + 1 = 2. Oh no. It's more like 1 + 1 = 5 or even 10. They work in a way that makes each one way more powerful than it could ever be on its own. So how does this 1-2 punch actually work? Well, research shows the best way to do it is sequentially. First, you send in the phages. Think of them as the special ops team. They go in and breach the bacteria's defenses, especially these tough shields they build called biofilms. Biofilms are like these slimy fortresses that antibiotics usually can't get through. But once the phages break them down and the bacteria are exposed, then you hit them with the antibiotics. Okay, so this all sounds amazing in theory, right? But does it, actually work? Well, the evidence we're seeing is nothing short of incredible. Let's look at some of the success stories. I want you to really listen to the wording in this quote. This study didn't just find a reduction in the biofilm. It found complete eradication. And this was against those super tough bacterial biofilms, some of the hardest infections to treat. By themselves, neither the phage nor the antibiotic worked that well. But together, they completely wiped them out.
And the numbers? Well, the numbers really tell the story. This study was targeting S. aureus. You probably know it as the bug that causes dangerous staph infections. Look at this. The phage alone, 72% of bacteria survived. The antibiotic alone, 60% survived. But you put them together in combination, the survival rate gets slashed to just 35%. That's synergy right there.
And this isn't just happening in a petri dish. Check this out. This chart shows results from an actual human study on patients with these awful deep joint infections. When they were treated with phage antibiotic synergy, the treatment response rate was a staggering 95.5%. For patients who probably had no other options left, that is absolutely life-changing. So, with results this promising, the whole focus is starting to shift. The big question now is, how do we take this amazing concept and turn it into a standard, optimized medical treatment that's available to everyone who needs it? And the ideas researchers are playing with are straight out of science fiction. We're talking about genetically engineered superphages, creating personalized phage cocktails that are custom-made for your specific infection, even using things like injectable hydrogels that act like smart bombs, delivering the phages right to the infection site. They're even testing them with other antimicrobials like, believe it or not, honey.
And this, for me, might be one of the most exciting parts of this whole story. Unlike developing a new antibiotic, which can cost billions of dollars, phages can actually be found and developed using pretty simple and cheap techniques. This could be a huge deal, making this cutting-edge treatment available to countries with limited resources, the very places often hit hardest by superbugs.
So we end up right back where we started. In our big war against superbugs, it turns out that the enemy of our enemy, this humble little virus, the bacteriophage, might not just be a new friend, but a powerful ally that makes our old weapons brand new again. It's just a wild reminder that sometimes the most futuristic solutions have